Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the part number 3 of this series we are doing on the government preparedness website. I have done 2 videos already and the last one we covered all the things that government suggested that we have and we improved on the list quite a bit. In this instance guys, we're talking about food. So if you've seen the government website, you've seen the suggestions that they put forward in terms of having the food, basically 3 days worth of food, and they suggest that you have your tinned meat, tinned vegetables and tinned fruit, that kind of thing. But guys, it kind of leaves a lot to be desired, especially in the circumstances where obviously something would have happened. You kind of want to have slightly be more tasty, more calorific intake of our foods that we have, because in the end of the day guys, the calories and it's very important guys, especially in the tough times. So at the same time, some of you emailed and said, well, what about if you're not able to cook certain food, or if you don't want to go outside and cook, or if you don't have a barbecue, or you don't have a space outside to do it, and at the same time you feel a bit uneasy of using your sort of camping stove is inside. So in this instance, in that video guys, I kind of incorporated all the foods that really don't need cooking at all, and then some of them that do require minor cooking. So this way you get to see the options and you can make your own choices. Again, as a suggestion guys, we are doing breakfast, lunch and dinner and snacks, but again, we know in any circumstances where things are a bit uneasy, chances are you're probably going to limit your intakes in terms of like 3 meals a day. To be fair, I don't think many of us have. I don't certainly have three meals a day, purely just out of choice really, but anyway, that's the different matter. So let's go through with that guys. So let's start with the breakfast. So very obvious, right? We have some oats, okay? And if you're talking about that you don't want to have or use, or we have no ability to use microwave, no electricity, you can do overnight oats. That means you just have your oats, you put the water in there and they'll be ready the following day. No cooking required. Yes, they're going to be cold, but it is something they do in America all the time and apparently is very acceptable. At the same time, you really could warm the milk up with a candle if you really have to. Otherwise, guys, this is one of the easiest options. Second option is, again, if we talk about oats, but you have the easy oats. We're basically the same as a normal oats, but they've been milled a bit finer. So basically you can just put a little bit warm water inside that and they're ready to eat. To make them more calorie dense and a bit more nutritious, guys, you can fortify them with things. So for children, you can fortify them with the like Pediasure shakes and things like that. And for adults, you can use a protein powder. This way, guys, again, depending on the situation we're dealing with, you're actually able to have a very nutritional breakfast that has a lot of vitamins and minerals and things that you'll need or your child needs. At the same time, if you're like myself, if you do dehydrating, you can actually add some fruit to your porridges as well. And as my part of my preparedness, guys, I've done few of those things. They're already pre-done. This one is the basically child portion of oats fortified with kiddies milk, nutritional milk. So something you can do as well. Obviously you don't have to, but the options are there. Another very straightforward, is goes without saying guys, is to have your cereal. It's whatever one you have, and chances are you probably already have this in your cupboard anyway. They're fairly inexpensive, and it's, again, you can have a couple of spare boxes to put away just in case. In terms of milk, again, you can buy UTH milk, okay, this one from Tesco's, it's like 69p, and they do have about 6 to 7 months shelf life, and it will sit another 2-3 months past the best before date. So if you think about it, you're pushing almost a year. So it is very good option. If you didn't want to and you're maybe lacking on space, then you can buy yourself a milk powder. They do this in full fat or they do this skimmed. To be fair, you get more buck for your money. I think I paid $2.99 for that one. But guys, you can dilute this with water, make your milk either for your cereals or for your porridge. So the options are there. So next thing, we're moving on to sort of the snacks and things like that, or even the breakfasts as well. You can buy, I'm sure you're aware guys, there's many different options of little breakfast cereal bars. Again, they're fairly inexpensive and they really have a good dates on them too. So again, either snack or whatever is a breakfast, guys, they are perfect. At the same time as well, you can buy a flapjacks like that. This one is from Home Bargains and they're literally like 39 pence. Very cheap, but they're really dense, they're quite heavy and they've got a lot of stuff there. If you didn't want to buy them, don't forget you can make this yourself and you can freeze that in your freezer if you wanted to. It literally is done personal choice, but a lot of this stuff you can prepare yourself rather than buying it somewhere else, and you can probably save yourself some money. So, but yeah, they are absolute great idea. So So next thing, guys, let's cover snacks again. So things like crackers and little breadsticks like that, again, they're really, really good option. Whether you guys have them with a chocolate spread, which I don't have here, or you have peanut butter, it's a really, really good option to snack. And I think especially for kids, they prefer little sticks. They're just a little bit more fun. It'll keep you fairly satisfied, I suppose, after having a couple of those, and you can dunk them in something. It's not too bad. With the crackers, again, you can have, guys, there's a different pâtés. You can have things like this, which I'm sure you've seen in the supermarket. Again, very inexpensive, have a very, very long date on those. And things like pâtés like this, they normally come in like a Polish area of like Asda or some different supermarkets. Again, they have a really good shelf life. They taste really, really good. And the whole idea is, guys, they taste good cold. So if you really didn't want to use any sort of heating or warming up your food, they are really, really good. Next thing I have here is fish. I know they suggested obviously tinned meats and meats and fruits and vegetables, but fish, okay? Meat, as I said before, guys, you kind of really want to have this warm, but fish, you can have it cold. Generally, whether it's being the mackerel or sardines or tuna, it's very acceptable to eat cold, unlike meat. However, saying that, I give you one example of the meat that is actually very good consumed cold. Again, you get this from a foreign part of the supermarket. And this one is, again, I think is a Polish one. It's like a pork knuckle, and it's in jelly, and it actually is very tasty cold with a little bit of bread or a little bit of pickle. You can just eat it as it is. You don't get this horrible sort of fatty residue in the top of your mouth. It's actually very, very good. And I believe last time I got this, you can actually buy this in Sainsbury's, and I think it's a little bit £2.99 a jar actually. But again, the dates are very long. It will just sit in your cupboard, and you can eat it at whatever time you want to, or just put it aside for an emergency. So next thing, guys, goes without saying, is things like those little soups. Again, you can get them from anywhere, from Lidl, Tesco's. They're like under 50p for packets of 4 or 5. All you have to do is just to add a little bit of hot water, and your snack is ready to go. At the same time, things, guys, like the pot noodles is a good option, again, probably for dinner or lunchtime. All that requires is boiling water, add it on there, and obviously it'll sit there. I don't need to explain how the pot noodle works. But again, the possibilities are endless. There's so many things on the market now for kind of pre-prepared ready meals that really don't require much. Things like that as well. Little snack pastas, okay? They're the ones that you actually put the boiling water in a cup, and you just leave it and you wait. Be really careful when you get some, because some of them you have to actually boil for 5 minutes, but some of them are that you just put the hot water, leave them sit there, and your snack is ready. Again, if you want to push the boundaries, I've done a video on making your own dehydrated pastas and dehydrated rice videos, where I then made the meal. So all we need is a little bit of hot water, and you have your meal ready to eat. But if you don't want to mess around, they're perfectly and are very inexpensive as well. So next thing I've got, guys, is for the snacks. Again, yes, obviously, guys, you know, you can have yourself crisps, you can have some sweets, you can have anything, you know, what boils your oyster. But things like the cured meats, so like a biltongs and jerkies, again, they're fairly pricey, but they do give you quite a bit of protein, and they are very, very good healthy snacks. So for all of you who are wondering, you say you don't want to eat the crap like sweets and everything else, they're a really, really good option. And at the same time, like things like trail mixes, nut mixes, there's so many of them. Whatever you like, guys, it's available to buy, or you can make your mixtures yourself, buying stuff separately. Again, the shelf life of these, guys, is very, very long. They don't really go off particularly, but it's really handy, it's really healthy, and it's already packed, ready to be put away in the cupboard if that's what you choose to do. And next thing, guys, so dinner times, again, its possibilities are endless. If you do have yourself a camping stove or able to cook something outside, there's not a problem really. To be fair, if you do have ability to heat something, you pretty much can cook as usual, okay? But again, we are looking at a situation where the resources are limited. So one of the key things I like to have, and it was part of my whole preparedness thing, is to have pretty much a lot of things that are really, really quickly, really quick to cook. So couscous is one of the same things. You literally add on hot water and put the lid on it. It'll sit there for a few minutes, and it basically absorbs the water, and it's ready to eat. It's pretty much like a pasta. It's made in a kind of similar way, if that makes sense, but it is super, super quick, and it's got good nutritional value there too. Things like, okay, hear me, rices. Obviously, we all know you can buy prepackaged rice. Again, you don't have to have them warm, okay? If you get the ones, you have to find the slightly better brand, if that makes sense, a different brand, because if you pick up one, say, from Lidl, they're literally rock hard, and the rice is normally quite hardly congealed together, and it's not particularly the best. That one, okay, you can feel this, they're a little bit loose, it's just a softer bit of rice, if that makes sense. So you don't really have to microwave this, you can have this cold. And I know you say it's probably quite disgusting to have like cold rice, what is that all about? But actually, I've learned this tip from it's a Brazilian restaurant we went a little while back, and they actually have as a rice, it was a cold rice dish. They basically had rice and mixture of like beans and sweet corn and things like that. Because it's in vinaigrette, so it's got vinegar. So by the time you mix the rice and that bit together, okay, it kind of all works. It works really well, and it's meant to be had cold. Hence the whole thing, idea being in the vinegar as well, guys. You're not meant to have them warm, so that gives you perfect opportunity to kind of mix two and two together and have your cold vegetables. But trust me, it actually tastes very good, and it does have some nutritional value there for you. And now for the last, guys, but not least, it's the things like this that you can buy. I've got a few of those from different brands. You have John West, and you have some other brands from Home Bargains. They're basically like a tuna pasta salad type thing. Okay, so you got yourself tuna, you got pasta, you got olives, you got sweet corn. They're different. You got different mixtures in there. As I said, there's so many of them on the market in terms of options. And the date on that, I bought those extras the other day. They are £2, so £1.99 each, but they have 2-year shelf life, and they're ready to eat. And the whole idea, guys, right, having the pasta or rice in one thing, but to have some vegetables already there, and anything that in the packet like this will taste far better than any vegetables in the tin, because they don't quite go through the same rigorous process of being preserved and for the really long-term storage like the tins do, but they are a very good option. And as well, whilst I'm here, guys, I forgot to mention that in terms of like a breakfast or snacks, or really snacks for the kids, things like that, they're quite filling. They're basically little croissants, and you have some like a chocolate cream inside it. They're very tasty. Again, they have a really long shelf life. The worst will happen to them, they'll just go a bit stale if they past the date, but they're really handy thing to have. Whether you have them breakfast snacks or you just give them to children, it's really good. And of course, guys, the final ones, the final ones, guys, is things like MREs. Okay, there's plenty of the options, guys, if you really kind of wanted to say not push the boat out, but they're not particularly that nice. You can really have a better selection and healthier selection of foods than you can in any of those packets. However, the beauty of those things, guys, it's a ready-made meal. You've got your pork in there. You have a self-heating pouch. So all you do, push the pouch in there, put the food in there, close the thing, and wait for it to warm up, and you have yourself a warm dinner. However, as I said, they're not particularly that cheap. They're actually quite expensive, to be fair. But the options there is loads of different varieties. And if you go to like a campaign shops as well, they do sort of like a hiking foods. Again, little sachets. They do have, again, a couple of years on them, but they are sort of £6-7 a sachet, which is really quite expensive. And another thing that reminds me of, if you kind of again wanted to have yourself really calorific things, it's things like a candle mint cake. Again, you can buy them online or from campaign shops. They're literally high calorie. It's a sugar and glycerine, basically. They're very it's just very basic mixture of things, but it's just very highly calorific. And sorry, another last thing. That's a third last thing, right? Sorry. It's things like that. Okay, I've started buying those a little while ago. They are original nourishment milkshakes, and they are designed for people that are unable to kind of process the food or unable to sort of consume like solid food. They have everything you want in there, and my husband been actually taking them just to try, and apparently they're really tasty, but they do have like a lot, and I mean like a lot of nutritional stuff there. So as a backup, and they do have again quite a long date on them, as a backup to have something like that, I think is really good. You can pick them up again on Amazon or in Home Bargains, and I think many other shops do them, but I think they're a great option to have in your backup on the back of your cupboard. So that's that, guys. It's really as straightforward as that. As you can see, it's a little bit more comprehensive than just having tins. Again, it's whatever you choose to do. I strongly suggest, guys, as a prepper, obviously stock up on the food anyway. It's very important, because whatever is going to be happening, chances are it's going to be longer than 3 days. Little things, little emergency, yes, with the water, like problems with the water we had recently, yes, it was sorted within 3 days. There will be little things with maybe 3 days without electricity, but you have to kind of prepare yourself in a slightly different way if you wanted to obviously be able to cook, things like that. So over the years, guys, if you have a look at my playlist, I've done all the videos, different videos about telling you what do you need for what scenario, how to prepare, what sort of food or equipment you might want to have in case of different emergencies. But otherwise, as per this video, that's that, guys. So hopefully you find this helpful. Don't forget thumbs up, maybe subscribe if you haven't already, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.